समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है, अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
For 5 years, ministers and officials of the Indian Railways showed dreams of a swanky, futuristic, world-class railway station in the national capital. In February 2021, the then Minister of Railways Piyush Goyal tweeted pictures or artist impressions of the 6,500 crore project. Look at those pictures on the screen, very impressive. After all, the New Delhi railway station must match India's rising global status. Millions of hearts swelled with pride to see those pictures. They skipped a beat when in January last year, Goyal's successor, Vaishnaw, told the Indian Express that the revamped railway station project would decongest a large part of the national capital. All these big promises sounded like a cruel joke late Saturday evening when 18 people died in a stampede, the worst ever at this railway station. We can't even have a crowd management system in place while our political leaders boast about the number of trains sent for Mahakumbh. Headline management is politically important, but it should not become the centerpiece of governance. 3 days before the stampede, Vaishnaw was in the 3rd floor war room in the Rail Bhavan. As per an official press release, he reviewed crowd management situation of Prayagraj railway stations. The minister even tweeted the real-time visuals from the Prayagraj stations that he was watching from Delhi. The 24/7 war room at the ministry headquarters supposedly monitors the crowds at all important stations, including in New Delhi. You can only wonder why nobody in that war room noticed the crowd at the New Delhi station on Saturday. The opposition has demanded the railways minister's resignation. Predictably, they already know the answer. Nothing happened to Ashwini Vaishnaw after the Balasore rail disaster, when close to 300 people died. In fact, the usual conspiracy theories started floating right after the accident. The CBI started the investigation and arrested 3 employees from the Signals and Telecommunications Department. Well, last heard, that is in October 2023, the Indian Railways S&T Maintenance Union was welcoming the Odisha High Court's decision to give conditional bail to the 3 accused. Hear what the judge had to say. And I quote him, "The question that arises is whether the accident is a result of any crime committed by the accused, or is the accident a result of composite negligence on the part of the railway authorities in maintaining the railway tracks and signal system," unquote. Well, composite negligence or accountability is something that gets buried under conspiracy theories. It has started with Prime Minister Narendra Modi suggesting a conspiracy from across the border behind the Kanpur rail accident that killed 150 people in 2016. The Prime Minister said it while campaigning for the BJP in the 2017 UP Assembly election. The NIA took over the case in November 2016. More than 8 years since then, it is still investigating. What I am driving at here is not whether Ashwini Vaishnaw should take moral responsibility and resign or not. The days of ministers doing that are over. Remember how Nehru had rejected Lal Bahadur Shastri's resignation offer after the Mahbubnagar disaster in September 1956, but accepted it at Shastri's insistence after the Tamil Nadu Ariyalur train accident 2 months later. Nitish Kumar forced Vajpayee to accept his resignation after the gas cell accident in West Bengal in 1999. Kumar was back in his cabinet a few weeks later as the agriculture minister, only to get the railways portfolio back 1.5 years later. After 2 such accidents in 2000, Mamata Banerjee offered to resign, but Vajpayee rejected it. Modi has a different style. His government can do no wrong. The only time he even hinted about making mistakes was in an interview with Nikhil Kamath, the Zerodha founder, last January. And I quote what the PM said, "I am human who can make mistakes, but I will not do anything wrong with bad intentions." Everyone makes mistakes, including me. After all, I am a human being, not some god, unquote. Since 2001, when Modi became the Gujarat Chief Minister, it was the first time that he ever suggested that he could commit mistakes. And because he could not go wrong, how could he go wrong about choosing the right ministers? He did not immediately accept Suresh Prabhu's resignation after fatal derailments in 2017, but shifted him to another ministry of a few weeks later. That is Prime Minister Modi's style. He is not daunted by any public uproar or the opposition's pressure when it comes to defending his minister's alleged failures. But he serves the punishment, as you may say, in cold. Just see where Suresh Prabhu is today. Coming to Ashwini Vaishnaw, he is among the very few competent ministers in the government. Modi has reasons to give him so many portfolios: electronics and information technology, information and broadcasting, besides railways. Amit Shah made him in charge of elections of different states. Last he delivered as co-in charge in Maharashtra. As I said, Modi and Shah are not known to give in to the opposition's demand or public outrage. They know how the system works. They did not fault the railway ministers for a few officials in Balasore messing up with signals and telecommunications, allegedly. Just as they will not find fault with him for the crowd mismanagement at the New Delhi railway station. The 24/7 politicians that they are, they understand that moral responsibility or accountability does not mean much electorally nowadays. After all, 141 people were killed in the Morbi suspension bridge collapse in Gujarat in October 2022, just 4 weeks before the assembly election. The BJP won the assembly election, including the Morbi assembly seat. The horrible Balasore train accident did not have any electoral impact, as the voters elected the BJP to power barely a year later in Odisha. So yes, Prime Minister Modi does not have to bother much about a stampede here or a rail disaster there. He does not have to care much about how his putative successor, Amit Shah, has evidently messed up in Manipur and failed to deliver on the Naga peace process or the framework agreement that the Government of India signed with so much hype and hoopla in 2015. He does not have to bother about Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's last budget, in which her internship scheme is supposed to accommodate 10 crore youngsters in 5 years, 2 crores a year on average. If you go by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs reply to Parliament, only 8,000 candidates joined the program till January this year, as the Indian Express reported. As against the target of 2 crores a year. Probably it's the first year, so you can still have an excuse. Sitharaman, while presenting the budget 2025-26, did not mention a word about the centerpiece of her previous budget, the internship program. You can understand why. Nobody asked about the achievements of the much hyped Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship that was created in 2014. Just go to the ministry's website. It talks about, and I quote, evolving an appropriate skill development framework, removal of disconnect between the demand for and supply of skilled manpower, forging a strong partnership between educational institutions, business and other community organizations, partnership with the industry who need a skilled manpower, and so on and so forth. Essentially, the Skill Development Ministry was supposed to be doing for a decade what Sitharaman did in her 2024-25 budget. There have been 4 skill development ministers, including 2 terms of Dharmendra Pradhan, spanning close to 5 years. With such an ambitious and expansive ministry in place, why would the finance minister need to roll out an internship program? That's like a public admission of the failure of the skill development ministry. Anyway, I'm not getting into the workings or achievements of ministries here. As I said, PM Modi does not have to bother about the ministers or the ministries. After all, the people vote for him and his PMO decides who does what and how. But does Modi want his brand to be remotely linked with rail disasters, Manipur fiasco, Skill India mission failures and what not? Failures of his ministers are creating holes in his Teflon or titanium coat. Well, for PM Modi to save his own brand, he needs to change the public perception about every minister's accountability or the lack of it. To start with, he should take a cue from Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. Look at Naidu's ministerial ranking. In the last one, he placed himself at 6, his son Lokesh at 8, and his deputy Pawan Kalyan at 10, apart from others. Kalyan may be upset, and that's something we will discuss another time. But the fact is that Naidu does it methodically. He keeps track of all the files that go to his ministers and sees how promptly they clear them. He has survey agencies that tell him who among his ministers respond to the people's grievances and how quickly. He even got the IVRS, or the interactive voice response system, during the Vijayawada floods to call up people sitting on rooftop and wherever every 6 hours and ask how long it took for relief materials to reach them and how they rate the government's efforts. That is direct feedback from the people. That's how Naidu is keeping his ministers and officials on tenterhooks. It's time Prime Minister Modi called up Chandrababu Naidu and discussed how to replicate this feedback system at the national level. He must send out a signal that psychophancy or Modi Bhakti is no substitute for performance, because it's hurting brand Modi. That's all from me in this episode of Politically Correct. Thanks for watching.